So now we're in Unit 6, the Data and Statistics and Probability Unit. So before we move any further, I do want to talk to you about statistics. Hopefully you remember these descriptive statistics from middle school, but we'll see. So we're going to talk about mean, median, and mode. They call these the measures of center. Okay? They want to know how the data relates to each other. How close are they? How can we draw conclusions about all data based on that? Then we're going to talk about range, and down the road we'll talk about mean absolute deviation. This is called a measure of spread. This tells you how far apart the data are from each other. So let's see what you remember, shall we? So when we talk about the mean, you will see they'll have a symbol for X bar. And what that is it's the average of a set of data. And how would you find this average or this mean? You're going to add up the numbers, divide by the number of numbers in the data set. And I have in front of me the Algebra 1 formula sheet, and here's what I want you to notice. For the statistics formulas, they actually have the formula for the mean. The mean is the first number plus the second plus the third plus the fourth plus the nth number. You add those up, and then you divide by the number of numbers. So if you ever have a moment where your mind just goes completely blank, this is how you find the mean. It will be on the Algebra 1 formula sheet. The median is the middle number in a set of data. The thing to remember is you must put the data in order from least to greatest. Ooh. Okay, so put the numbers in order and find the middle number. Write the numbers in order, find the middle number. If you have an even number of numbers, there are going to be two middle numbers. So you actually have to add up those two numbers and divide by 2. The mode is the number or the value that occurs the most. Sometimes you'll have one mode, you can have more than one, or sometimes there will be no mode at all if nothing repeats. And again, the best way to do this is to write them in order and see how many times each number shows up. And then the measure of spread is the range. That'll be the difference between the greatest and the least numbers. So you'll take the larger number minus the smaller. And you'll notice here for each of these, a one-word definition kind of draws itself to you. When we look at the mean, I want the average. The median is the middle. The mode is the most. And the range will be the difference. So keep those things in mind, okay? So the first example that I give you is I want you to find the mean, median, mode, and range of the following, okay? They tell you to write your data in order from smallest to largest. I will tell you what I do is I always write my numbers directly beneath the other numbers. That way, when I'm putting them in order, I don't forget one by accident. So I see that 17 is my smallest number. And I don't cross through the number because some people use pen and you want to make sure you account for everything. You don't want to forget anything. Then I've got a 22. I've got another 22. I've got 26, 39, 41, and 47. So there's no original number hanging over. So that means that I have written every single number that's available. And so for the mean, I'm going to add the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. So I'm going to write out what's going on here. And then I'll let the calculator do the heavy lifting for me, if you will. So I'm going to add these numbers. How many numbers are there? 6, 7. There are 7 numbers. Okay. So my BFF TI-30XS will do the work for me here. So I've got 17 plus 22 plus 22 plus 26 plus 39 plus 41 plus 47. So when I add those, my sum is 214. And I divide that by 7. And now, I love my improper fractions, but when we're dealing with statistics, it helps to have an actual number. And in most cases, you'll be rounding to the hundredths place. You'll be rounding to 2 decimal places. So that's where I'm going to take this one. So 30.57 is my mean. All right, the median says pick the number in the middle. So if I look at my numbers, I go here, outer, outer, I'll work my way in. The middle number is 26. Okay, the mode, actually, let me write these again really quickly. So when I look at these numbers, 26 shows up in the middle, so that's my median. My mode, is there a number that shows up more than the others? Yes, 22 shows up the most. And then to find my range, my largest number is 47, my smallest number is 17, so my range is 30. And that's what we're going to do to find the mean, the median, and the mode, and the range. And I'm going to go over one more example with you just to make sure we hammer down the median, okay? So I've got another set of numbers here, and I'm going to order the data. And the nice thing is it's all right here, so right below, so I can line it up neatly. What's next? There's an 18, there's a 22, there's a 22, there's a 24, and then 28, 37, 41, 52, and then finally 62. So the mean will be the sum of all of those numbers divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, divided by 10, okay? So I'm actually going to say, if we add all these, we will get 324. So my sum is 324 divided by 10, and dividing by 10 has us shift 1 decimal place to the left. My mean is 32.4. All right, so now let's actually look at the median. So I'm going to look at 18 and 62. I'm going to work my way in one problem at a time. And I see that I have 2 numbers here that are in the middle, okay? So I have 2 numbers. I have an even number of numbers. This will happen anytime I have an even number of numbers. You must find the average of the 2 middle numbers. So my 2 middle numbers are 24 and 28. I'm hoping that you would know that the number in between them is 26. But if you don't see that, you can always just take 28 plus 24 and divide it by 2. And there it is, if you needed to see it that way. All right. Now let's look at the mode, the number that shows up the most. And I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm just going to look at a few of these. All right. So what number shows up the most here? Well, 18 shows up twice. 22 shows up twice. Does anything show more than twice? No. And there are 2 numbers that show up twice. So this data is bimodal. There are 2 modes here. So 18 and 22 are my modes. And what is my range? Well, my range is my greatest number minus my least number. 12 minus 8 is 4. 5 minus 1 is 4. Good grief. So my range is 44. Okay, so there's everything you need to know. So again, to find the mean, we take the numeric average, we add up all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers, because that's what this tells us to do. Add all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. Fabulous. For the median, we look at the number in the middle. If there are 2 numbers in the middle, I want the middle of that middle. So 26 would be my middle number. The mode is the number that shows up the most. 18 shows up twice. 22 shows up twice. Everything else shows up once. So 18 and 2 are my modes. And then the range was the greatest number minus the least number. 62 minus 18 equals 44. So there's your refresher of statistics or summary statistics. And that's our little lead in into this unit.